Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Now in today's fairly brief episode of Final Fantasy IX, I'm going to be showing you a little tip that's helped me along the way during our early playthrough of the game on the live streams. By the way, little plug for the live streams, if you haven't checked those out, then we do have a laugh on them, so you might want to join us. Right, so this is my recommendation, and it is, you know, for the start of the game, so if you've gone past this bit, then you don't need to worry about it. Right, so what I'm going to suggest is you actually level Zidane up. Now, during the Evil Forest, which is really the first dungeon of the game, you get an opportunity to run around with Zidane where there are enemy encounters just in this location. Now I'm actually going to recommend that you level Zidane at this point to level 6, and I'm going to explain why in a moment, but some of you might be thinking, well, why not just wait until we have a more complete party? Well, it's Zidane in particular that we need to level up at this stage. And once we start to have other party members, we're actually going to be sharing the experience with them, which means leveling Zidane is going to take a little bit longer. Now, by just spending 20 minutes here with Zidane, we're going to be helping ourselves out big time with a couple of encounters later on down the road. So once we've got other party members, we can carry on doing a little bit of farming if we want to. Personally, I didn't spend much time doing this, but I do just recommend, as you've got Zidane by himself for this time, that you do just take that opportunity to get him a bit of experience. Also, just playing into one of the previous videos I made, try and get into the habit of just stealing from every enemy you encounter, and that's because of the fact that later on you unlock an ability called Thievery, which does damage based upon the number of successful steals you have done up until that point, including steals that have been successful even before you've gained access to the skill. And the great thing about the Thievery skill is it does up to max damage 9999, and that cannot be blocked, parried, or reduced with a protect spell. So it is a great thing to do just to get into the habit of stealing from every enemy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there for today. Just make sure you try and get Zidane up to level 6, and then later on, this is going to be a big help. First of all, as soon as you've gone through that section of the Evil Forest with Zidane solo, we're going to go through the airship section, the crashed airship, where we have to just go around, speak to people, etc. And that's going to culminate in a solo fight against Baku. Now, Baku isn't particularly challenging, it's got to be said. He only has 202 hit points, so even if Zidane is only level 2 or 3, you're still going to be able to defeat him. But here's the thing, he actually holds an item on his steel table that you're going to want to get. It's the Iron Sword, which is a pretty useful weapon early on for Steiner. Now, the thing is, this weapon is on his uncommon steel table, so it could take quite a few attempts, which means this battle could be a little bit prolonged, perhaps longer than you would otherwise want it to be. And if Zidane is underleveled in that situation because you're having a little bit of no luck in trying to get that Iron Sword, then having low health and whatnot and low defenses is going to be a big problem. But if you've leveled up to 6 by this point, then you can just happily sit in the battle, keep stealing many times, throwing the odd potion from time to time, and you should be able to get that Iron Sword even if it takes a long time without the risk of Zidane being killed. But this isn't the main reason I'm recommending this farm, it's just the first bonus of doing so. Now, once you finish the airship and you're back outside in the Evil Forest, this time you have some party members with you, it is worth just grabbing a couple of levels with your other active party members, just because there's some bosses coming up that aren't solo based. But don't worry too much about grinding heavily at this part. Just make sure again that every enemy you're encountering you are stealing from. And I tend to get Steiner and Vivi up to about level 3 here, so it does take a little bit of time because of the fact that experience is shared, as I say, but it's not really a bad farm. And because we've already got Zidane to level 6, it doesn't matter too much if out of the party members are slightly underleveled, but trust me, Zidane being a high level is what we're going to need in a short while. Now, the Evil Forest ends with quite a tough boss fight actually, a creature known as Plant Brain. And Plant Brain is a bit of a nuisance, made even more so by the fact that it has a couple of items you're going to want to steal, surprise surprise. Well, actually one of those items you want to steal at least, it's the Iron Helm. Now, the Iron Helm is again an uncommon steal, which means this battle is possibly going to be prolonged by the fact that you have many unsuccessful steal attempts, coupled with the fact that the boss is generally going to be hitting you with thunder spells and also the darkness spell, which is really irritating. It's just going to really help having at least Zidane to be level 6 or 7 by this point. And just make sure you stay on top of the other characters' health if they're a little bit underleveled. But again, this isn't the main point. We've gone through farming Zidane's level this high. but it's just a bonus worth mentioning because it is going to help you if it is a prolonged battle trying to get that Iron Helm. The positive news is that eventually Blank is going to show up in the battle against Plant Brain, and he also has the Steel command, so you're effectively doubling your chance of getting the Iron Helm each round. Okay, so Plant Brain's defeated, the Evil Forest is completed. You've made your way over into the main plains, onto the world map, and heading over to the Ice Cavern. Now, as you do this, as you progress through this part of the game, you're going to continue to gain experience. Of course, you're going to continue to gain levels. You're going to continue to get Zidane even more powerful than he is. And if you want to spend a little bit of extra time in the Ice Cavern, farming enemies, killing monsters, stealing from them to boost up your thievery skill later, then, of course, you're going to gain even more experience with Zidane, which is going to bring us to the ultimate point of this mini farm we've been taking care of. The final boss fight at the end of the Ice Cavern is another solo fight, and this involves Zidane against two creatures. The first is known as Black Waltz 1, and the second is known as Sealion. Now, here's the thing. This fight is not easy. It's actually rather challenging. But what makes this fight even worse is the fact that the Sealion has an item you want to steal on the uncommon steel table. That is the Mythril Dagger. Now, the Mythril Dagger is a very, very nice early dagger for Zidane, mostly because of the fact that it contains the Bandit skill, which increases your steal success chance. And seeing as how I've already advised that you're going to want to be stealing from pretty much every enemy in the game, yeah, having the Bandit skill early is going to help you a long way with this. But having a prolonged battle here is going to be extremely challenging, especially if you haven't been leveling up as I've recommended that you have. That you should. So, by having Zidane level 7, 8 or even 9 by this point is going to help you tremendously. And there we have the Mythril Dagger. I was extremely fortunate to be able to steal it on the very first steal attempt. But people in live stream chat were telling me that they were literally trying to steal for up to 15 minutes and were not able to get that item, eventually giving up. But I tell you what, guys, however long it takes you to steal, it's going to be a lot easier if you're not having to heal Zidane with potions every single time he takes damage. And that's because by having him at least level 7, as I have, he's going to be taking a lot less damage, first of all, because of his higher defense, but also he's going to be able to take more damage anyway because of his higher HP totals. It's also worth noting that the Black Waltz also has an item you'll want to steal, the Silk Shirt, and both enemies here have just other restorative items on their common tables, which you should get fairly quickly. Now, once you've gone ahead and stolen everything, you're going to want to just take out the boss as quickly as possible. But by this point, hopefully, as was the case with me, you should have built up Zidane's trance gauge. Now, this is going to help out tremendously just to finish off the fight. But if not, then just make sure you lay on with physical attacks, but stay ahead of the healing curve. Okay, do not take things for granted, because later on in the fight, for example, the Sealion can do 65 to 70 points of damage per hit with its Blizzard spell, which is really nasty. Now, it won't do that until it's taken a little bit of damage itself. That blue jewel in its stomach there will turn yellow. But obviously, you do not want to be letting the fight go on for too long after that. So just make sure you get the stealing done first before doing any damage, and then take out the fight using trance if possible. Alright then, guys, well, hopefully this video has been a help to you, and the Mythril Dagger is a very nice reward to get, in my opinion. You don't want to make it harder to get than it needs to be, so just, you know, gain a few extra levels in the Evil Forest, and that will go a long way throughout those next set of boss fights. But I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like, and stay tuned to the channel. Got a whole host of Final Fantasy IX content, tips, live streams, etc. coming your way, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Sounds like you're having fun.